how is my video? Pretty choppy. I'm doing this from the garage because my phone died, so I had to plug it in. I could have went live from my computer, but I want to smoke real quick. I still didn't eat. I made dinner. Let me go get Cass's plate, actually. I'm back. I had to get Cass's plate. She was done. And I had to get a drink. Black sheep. Facts. Facts. Man, I wish I could, let's see. Hey, what's up, Curt? Good vibes, my brother. What's up, Black Sheep? Little payday. Man, if anybody's got any questions, I wanna go through part one and kind of touch on a couple different subjects and make like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna elaborate on part one a little bit, make another video that kind of was like little footnotes of what I was talking about. Like, school was crazy. That secondary school I went to, we were locked. I mean, locked to the desk. You know what I mean? It wasn't. Oh, you guys are bad kids. No, it was handcuff you to the desk. The hand you wrote with was the hand you got to use. Yeah, like a DC number. It's kind of weird. I got a lot of referrals. Got a lot of trouble in school. Maybe I'll do footnotes of part one. Kind of like how Chad Arms and them do their interviews, where they include sub stories to their interview. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll touch on a couple of those. I lived in Claremont for 5 years around the early 2000s. Oh, that's what's up. I was young then, man. I was in Clearwater around the time you lived in Claremont. I'm only 35. Yeah, well, I ain't sharing everything. Believe me, I ain't sharing everything. And not because I don't want people to know, but for the same reason. Like, a lot of the stuff that I went through was in movies. Like, it was crazy, man. Like, the parties that we had were like Project X type parties. Maybe not that big, but they were huge. Like, they were legitimate block parties for high school and college kids. You know what I mean? We shut down whole neighborhoods. I remember one Halloween we had a party so big, like half of the Clearwater Police Department had to pull up because there was so many people there. 2 officers couldn't show up. Hell, 10 officers couldn't show up. Yeah. Well, handcuffed to a desk. Look, when I've been raided. I wasn't raided. The hotel that I was in as a fugitive was raided prior to me. Or I left and then they raided it. Like, I got into a lot of trouble, man. I've been shot at. My car was shot at multiple times. I thought it was the person shooting at me, and it turned out it was a undercover police car that had seen me hauling ass at a high rate of speed and got behind me, followed me, tailed me, pulled me over. And the first thing I said to him is, "Officer, I'm getting shot at." So he thought I was all fucked up. He didn't see no bullet marks in the car. You know what I mean? So then I get pulled out of the car. I immediately tell the cop I got no driver's license. I knew I was going to jail. And and I had a quarter pound of weed in my backpack behind the seat, all stacked up individual sacks. And the kid in the passenger seat, it was his mom's car, and he had a driver's license. I didn't. He was too afraid to drive a weed in the car, so I drove. And when the cop walked back up to ask him for his license so he could drive the car home, because he wasn't even going to search the car, I just admitted, hey, I don't have a license. He didn't think we were high. He didn't think nothing. The kid had taken the backpack out of the back seat and set it on the driver's seat. Yeah, I hear you on that. But I'm not going to share everything, but I am going to share some of it. I am going to, what's up, Joker? I did want to talk about a little bit about like my Xanax issue. I wanted to bring awareness to that because I didn't know anything about it. My mom my mom understood it. I don't think she understood it completely because my mother would take prescription medication to help with her anxiety and stuff, but never, I mean, it was very rare if she had to take something. I felt like because the doctor prescribed me this many a day, I need to take this many a day, even if I didn't need to take it. And it rapidly grew. I'll share it. There's only a couple people in here, I don't care anyway, but I'm going to share it. I'm going to share this. I'll say that Xanax was the worst thing to ever, outside of like my loved ones dying and stuff, Xanax did more damage to me than anything on the face of this earth. Other than alcohol and Xanax are neck and neck. And it just so happened I picked the only two drugs that you could die from withdrawing. Like you could legitimately die if you withdraw from alcohol or Xanax without a medical withdrawal. Like without medical assistance. Delirium and Xanax are real. I was stuck in one for 4 days in a maximum security cell, losing my mind. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Jen, but it makes us who we are today, man. It does. A guy I was pretty good friends with, I used to work with him. His dad freaking killed his wife and himself. He came home one day to his parents dead in the house. Murder-suicide. Yeah, definitely, Jen. Yeah, so Xanax, man, I'll say this. Nowadays, it seems like it's controlled a lot more than it used to be, but at about 15, like I said, I was prescribed Xanax. And I took it, and I never really thought anything of it. It was also a controlled situation where one was given to me, a half was given to me, whatever was needed was given to me, but I would save them. I had learned that they were worth money, and I would save them, and I would sell them. Well, my friends were like, dude, when you take, a whole one or whatever, and you're not going through anxiety, you really start to feel it. And I learned real quickly, and I had a different effect. Like most people think that you forget things and you falling asleep. Like Xanax did the exact opposite to me. Hell, when I met Cass, I was still taking them very, very actively, but I wasn't abusing them. I was taking them as prescribed, but my anxiety was really fucking with me. And I started to realize that the Xanax actually made the anxiety worse. It was a Band-Aid. It was literally a Band-Aid, but it was a Band-Aid that was literally killing me from the inside out. It destroys your nerves. It destroys your brain. Like it really, it's not good. It's not good at all. Oh yeah, I've seen more deaths in my life than wedding. Yeah, me too. Facts. Checking in for 10 minutes. I'll be back in about 20 if you're saying. 3 Beer, what's good, man? I appreciate you. Dude, what it do, Cap? Yeah, Zoloft. Well, see, I didn't even look. Lithium. I don't know if anybody knows what lithium is, but lithium is given to people with bipolar. It's an old medication, and it's designed to. It's a mood stabilizer. Well, I was in a drug rehab program, and they gave it to you in liquid form. I got 1,800 milligrams, which was the highest dose that you could get at one time. I mean, I don't think it was the highest, but it was getting close. And my therapeutic level was only like a point 0.5, and it needed to be a 1.0. It was so low. Well, they kept giving it to me. I was court ordered to take the shit, and it was fucking up my stomach. Like, it created a gastroparesis issue in my stomach where it paralyzed. Oh, I can't wait, T-Rev. It paralyzed my stomach. Um, your stomach works like a tube of toothpaste. You squeeze from the top and it squeezes out the bottom. Squeeze from the top, squeeze out the bottom. Well, mine wasn't squeezing out the top. Mine was only squeezing out the bottom. It was just squeezing down here. And it was very irregular. It wasn't doing its job. Yeah, doctors know that. They do. Well, it's crazy because the lady that was giving it to me and administering it to me and giving me blood, checking my blood every couple months to make sure my therapeutic level was there and they weren't giving it to me for no reason. She's like, we're giving it to you for no reason. It's not helping you. It's making it worse. So I was in a rehab and I was committed to getting sober. I didn't want to get high and do drugs, and it really got a hold of me. Um, I had 13 mugshots. I'll say that. I had 13 mugshots in Pinellas County Jail from the time I was 18 to about 22. And I think I picked up, right now, I'm no longer, as of this month, uh, November 23rd, I'll be completely free of the system. I'm still dealing with a DUI that happened, shit, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. Before I got with Cass, before I even knew her, I got into some trouble. And because of my background, I really had no defense to it. I got 2 prior DUIs, so this was my 3rd, and I had really no defense to it. I couldn't. I had a defense to it, but because of my situation, regardless of what I said or I did, I was going to end up going to prison if I wasn't careful. And I got an attorney that was shit, but he was able to push it out further than he needed to. And what happened was is it pushed me outside of the statute of limitation for prison time and for a 10-year revocation of my license. But I did get the breathalyzer. I did have to go to jail and do like a walkthrough and get booked in. I was only there for like 2 days. And for somebody that spent as much time in jail as I did, 2 days was nothing. But I had kids. You know, my girl was pregnant. Cass was pregnant. It was a different time of my life, man. I used to enjoy being in jail. I didn't give a fuck. Take me to jail, I was straight up wilding out. Put me in a cell, motherfucker. I'm fighting if you ain't put me in a cell because I don't want to sit on the ground. I don't want to sit in these bullshit ass chairs. Mixing down now. But damn, I've been there and done that. Oh yeah, bro. It's that part of my life's long gone. So anyway, I did my 6 months in a rehabilitation center. It was for dual diagnosis. It was Cass is definitely my angel. Cass, when I met Cass, I fell. Okay, hold on, let me rewind. I did the dual diagnosis. I quit drinking. I did a year. I did actually 14 months of AA. I was big in it. I went every day, a couple times a day even. I learned how to get sober and stay sober. And I surrounded myself with a lot of sober people. I cut ties with everybody. Literally everybody that I hung out with. I cut ties with all of them, and I focused on myself. I focused on myself hardcore. I wanted to make a change for myself. Yeah, Cass is the queen. So I met Cass. Cass is a little older than me, and she had it going on. She had 2 beautiful kids that became my stepkids, and I was nervous. I had never really faced any of this shit sober in my life. Like from the time I was 15, started smoking weed, got really heavy into smoking weed. I was taking Xanax, I was drinking, I was, messing around with other pills. I was literally, I started dabbling in cocaine, so I was literally always high. Shrooms, I was enjoying it. I got into a little ecstasy time, Molly, it wasn't Molly then, it was just MDMA. I started going way out of control before I got sober. Once I got sober, I never had to deal with like normal life stresses, you know what I'm saying? Trying to find a relationship, trying to do this, trying to do that. So when I met Cass, the first time I hung out with her, I was drinking. and I realized I was loosening up. And I just figured everybody drank. You know what I mean? I was back on that mindset. Like, everybody gets drunk every now and then. Well, I wasn't getting drunk every now and then. One night she let me have it. She said, either you're going to stop drinking and we're going to stay together, or you're going to get the fuck out of here. No middle ground. And I said, you know what? I'll quit drinking. And it was really easy the second time. A lot of people say it's hard. And now I don't even crave it. I don't think about it. I don't do nothing. Well, Xanax was still a thing when I was with Cass, and I didn't abuse it, so it wasn't something that she always kind of motivated me to get away from it. You know what I mean? To get away from it, get away from it, get away from it. It's not good for you. But she kind of seen what it did for me with my anxiety and my aggression. Not really aggression. I guess it is aggression. It's like I just get really, I'm short fused. I don't, it doesn't take much sometimes. And it helped, but it also made me emotionless. It made me, I wasn't very respectful of other people's feelings because I didn't have any feelings. It didn't make me tired. It did, but it didn't. And there was a real good possibility of abuse. I freaking loved them. I mean, when I was like 18 years old, I used to wake up in the morning and the first thing I did was pop a full Xanax bar, 2 milligrams. Full Xanax, down the chute. I'd get up, smoke a blunt, take a shower, smoke another blunt, find something to do, take another Xanax. I'd get in my car, I'd drive to wherever I wanted to go. During that time, I was probably smoking a blunt, and I would meet up with some people, sell them some Xanax, and I would take another Xanax. And I did this all day long. People started to just know me fucked up on Xanax, and when I wouldn't take them, they were like, yo, damn, you're fucked up, dog. I'm like, no, actually, I'm not. Actually, I'm stone cold sober. And that was kind of an eye-opener. I'm like, damn, everybody knows me as Captain Curt all fucked up on Xanax, or Curt the guy fucked up on Xanax, and I hated that. And I seen how other people were, and I wasn't ever like that. It took a lot of Xanax to get me stumbling and falling around, and it took a lot. So I didn't see it as a problem as much as I seen it in everybody else. So I was like, yo, if I'm not acting like that, why do I need to stop taking it? Well, then in around 20, I got arrested, and I had to go to jail I did some time. And I was in maximum security and general population, and I started, I was there a month probably when this happened. I was starting to hear shit. Like, I would be sitting down, and I would feel like the whole room of people was just talking shit about me. Like, I was so paranoid. I had such like a schizophrenia. Like, I'll never forget, one morning I woke up, I was eating breakfast, and this guy was eating, and he happened to look up at me, and I had this black dude that he was my bunkie, and I'm like, bro, that fucking cracker won't stop fucking with me. He won't stop talking shit. Like, I was starting to get aggressive. I was starting to get really on edge. I didn't really know what was going on. I knew I was in jail, but I kept telling the guard, and I wish that the guard would have took me more seriously, because it would have probably saved me from a lot of humiliation, because I was very embarrassed. But I swore that I was getting out soon. My uncle was picking me up on an airplane, and he had to just fix the tail rudder. And this is what I'm telling people, dude, for days. And the news and shit is playing on the TVs in the pod, and I'm trying to sleep, and I think that I've been running from cops on motorcycles, and I did all these crimes. So I would wake up and I would look at my bunkie, and I'm like, bro, I'm back in here. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dog, I was riding motorcycles, running from the cops. I done shot at the police. I was telling him all this shit that I was hearing on the news, and I knew that I was hearing it on the news, but I could not stop from saying it. So I started really losing my shit. Like, I started becoming really aggressive to the other inmates in the pod, and the one dude, the black dude that was my bunkie, I finally, my grandmother, my mom was really hard on me. My mom was like, she loved me, but my mom didn't deal with no bullshit. My mom didn't deal with no cop outs. So I freaking, Susie Q, have a good night. I said, hey, can you call my grandma? And I remember telling him, but I don't remember giving him the phone number. So I gave this guy my grandma's phone number. And when he called from jail, he said, your grandson's losing it. So she immediately picked up. And Granny kind of brought me down for a second. But I told her, I said, look, Granny, I need you to call the warden, call the news, call somebody and tell them they got to get me to medical. I got to get to medical. Something's not right. I'm losing my mind. And I knew what was going on. So she calls down there, and it don't go very well. They don't want to believe her. They say, well, he can write a 62, write a piece of paper to medical, and they'll call him up in a few days. She's like, look, I don't think he's got a few days. I think things are going to progress, and he's going to end up getting himself in a lot of trouble. And, yeah, roller coaster ride. So anyway, so then I'm like, fuck, I got to do something. Well, the med lady come, and I freaked out on her. I'm like, I'm not taking the meds. Somebody's got to get me help. Because I knew if I said that I wasn't taking the meds, you go to psychiatric. You go to a suicide watch. But that means butt naked pod. And I wasn't trying to go be butt naked with no clothes, with a paper gown, in a cold ass room for 72 hours. But I had to get this figured out. So a guard came and called me out and said, I'm going to walk you down to the nurse's station before we decide if we're going to send you to medical. And a lot of people do that. It's called checking in. They'll make up something to get out of maximum security. Because medical, you got hospital beds. You got a Cadillac in there. You're just kicked out chilling. You got brand new TVs. It was a brand new facility. So a lot of people were trying to get out of max and go to medical and making up excuses. I mean, they'd ship you in and out. You cut yourself, they doctor it up, and you're gone. Anyway, so I finally get a hold of somebody that is going to listen to what I got to say. And she freaking, once they took me out of the cell and they brought me into more like a normal environment where there were other people that weren't inmates like myself, and things started like clearing up. I started to like regain what the fuck reality was. And the lady started asking me a bunch of questions. And she must have seen this before, because she asked them a few different times, a few different ways. She said, and I'll never forget this, she said to me, when are you getting out? But she asked me like 3 different ways. But finally she said, when are you getting out? Like a friend. Hey, when are you getting out? And I'm like, any day now. My uncle's on the roof fixing the tailpipe on the plane. As soon as he's done, we out of here. And as soon as I said it, I was like, I kind of looked at the cop that took me out. Was like, what the hell is this dude talking about? He didn't say nothing, but the look on his face. The nurse is like, look, I think we do need to get this guy to medical, because something ain't right. She's like, take him back. I'll put in an order. And we'll get him over to medical. Well, they took me back to the cell, and as soon as I went in the cell, man, it like washed over me again. My brain just went into panic mode. My brain went into like a false reality mode. I started back on this. There's people outside. There's people on the roof. And I knew it was bullshit, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't. It was so weird. Like it was like verbal diarrhea. And then it started getting like real cloudy. Like I couldn't really tell where I was, but I knew where I was, and I knew I couldn't get out. And that was driving me fucking nuts. So it was lockdown time, and I knew how to jam the gate with the toothpaste cap. So once they rolled the gates, I could jam the gate back open and get out in the common area and get out of the cell. I knew how to do it. So I waited. I jammed the gate. I got out. I was hanging out, and I started really losing my shit. I started fucking screaming at other inmates in the cells. I was running around and they ended up sending the SRT team, and they yapped me up real quick, wrapped me up big time, and they threw me in this chair. I think it's like a 4-point restraint. They do it. They cuff you behind you. They strap over top of you, and then they strap across your legs, and then they strap across your feet. So you're cuffed, you're strapped 3 times. So you're not going anywhere. And the more you move, the tighter the chair would get. They put me in this chair and they threw me in the back of this truck, like a van, and they transported me from Max to medical facility. Well, they didn't know where they were going to put me because they didn't know I was really nasty. They had to put a spit mask on me because I was spitting on people. I thought I was at this point, once they got me in a chair and the adrenaline hit me and they put me in the back of this van, they were police officers, but in my eyes, they were gang members. It was the Bloods versus the Crips, and I was the Bloods and they were taking me to the Crips, or vice versa. I was the Crips and they were taking me to the Bloods. And there was another person they were transporting me with, and I was fucking cussing at him. I was saying, "You fucking gang member." Dude, I was losing my mind. I really thought that I was stuck in this gang battle. And I was hallucinating. I was in a delirium. I was slowly slipping into a delirium. At this point, the cops don't want nothing to do with me. They just want to get me out of the back of this van and into some part of the medical. Well, they take me to like a room with a bunch of nurses and stuff in it. It was like the nurses, and they put me in this room. It's like a closet. They point me on the wall, and they just set me in this chair, and I start fucking losing my mind. I'm trying to get out. You can't get out. The more you move, I was cuffed, so the cuffs are tightening. I'm trying to rock this chair. And it ain't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Nowhere. So 4 hours go by, and every 4 hours they gotta either decide if they're gonna leave you in the chair, or they gotta try to take you out of the chair, or they gotta at least take you out of the chair and stand you up and move you around and then put you back in the chair. Well, as soon as they started loosening that chair up, I fucking sprung to action. Spit mask on, screaming, yelling. I don't even know why. I do know why, because I thought I was in a gang battle. I thought these were gang members that were trying to harm me, so I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm losing my mind. They locked me back in the chair this went on for like 12 hours. I stayed in this chair for like 12 hours. Finally, they're like, dude, this guy is he's a danger to other inmates and to himself, or sending him to the butt naked pod. So they threw me in this butt naked pod, and I hallucinated for 4 days. I thought I could walk out of my cell. I was running into the walls in the cell. I was losing my mind. I had to get out of there. And they would come give me meds and food, and they would open the trap for the door to put the food and the meds in. And one time I hid behind the wall all day. I'll never forget this. It was so weird because I thought my mom was in jail next to me, in the pod next to me, and she was smoking cigarettes. I thought she got in there arrested for stealing phones, and she was giving me cell phones, and I'm walking around the cell talking on this invisible phone, fucking yelling about these damn cops. I'm screaming, I'm spitting, I'm losing and I can't stop, and I don't realize that this has been 4 days now. I'm in the thing where I love you, my eyes rolling back in my head, tongue out, fucking mashing at the police officers, butt naked. This is all, I'm on the 5th day, I wake up and there's piss all over me and I'm all disgusting. I've been in this thing for 5 days. I ain't really ate. They said I didn't take none of the meds. I didn't listen. I've been fighting, screaming, yelling, trying to break out. I tried to break out. They opened the trap. I flung my arms out the trap and put superhuman strength, lean back. They had to get the SRT team back there. They put black lithium grease all over my arms. They took this big jar out. My arms are stuck. There's like a trap where they slide the food in. I put my arms out and then slammed them up against the outside of the cell door, because it was a door. They didn't put no bars because I was spitting. They wanted to seal me off. And they couldn't get my arms off. I was like superhuman strength at that point because of the anxiety and the bipolar and the delirium I was stuck in. And I was there for like an hour, and they brought the SRT team in and they covered my arms in lithium grease. They took this stick with grease on it and stuck it in between my arms and slid it up and down the inside. So they were greasing my arms, and like 4 dudes just grabbed my arms, Hercules style, bent them back and just fucking shoved me back through. Because you couldn't open the gate. You could not open the gate because my arms were through the trap, and that trap slides through to open the door. So as long as my arms were through the door, they opened the door, they cut my arms off. So finally, one morning I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, what is happening? Where am I? I didn't even know what I was. I didn't know, and I had been in jail for like, at this point, like a month and a half. Like, what am I doing? Well, a guard happened to be walking by, and he was doing count, and he happened to look over, and he's like, whoa. I'm like, bro, what the fuck's going on? He's like, are you all right? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm fucking fine, dude. What am I doing in here? He's like, dude, we're gonna have to show you the video. He's like, we didn't think you were gonna come. I'm like, what do you mean the video? He's like, you've been in here for 5 days. You're on your 5th day, and you've been losing your mind. You've been spitting on nurses, telling everybody you're gonna kill them. I was like, what? And I would never spit on a woman. I would never spit on anybody, even law enforcement. I wouldn't spit on them. It's disgusting. So I was like, no way. So they showed me the video, man, and it was insane. The nurse was like, I didn't think you were coming out of it. She's like, deliriums are what you see the people in the psychiatric wards that are eating ketchup packets and drooling on themselves. That's Thorazine. And that was another thing. They hit me with Thorazine. That's what happened. The chair. The reason they got me in that butt naked pod is in the chair I wouldn't comply, so they just stood me up and hit me right in the ass cheek with a big ass needle full of Thorazine. You want to talk about going night night? Oh, I went night night. And you can't sit down for days on that. So I'll say this. If you're somebody that takes a benzodiazepine to relieve your anxiety or your stress or your depression, you might want to reconsider getting off of it. And if you do, make sure you go seek medical assistance, because you can't just stop. And if you do, you have to have a good support system. Like, I made sure I let Cass know if I started acting really odd or saying weird things or things weren't making sense or I was doing really out of, like, shouldn't be doing, just call 911. Tell them I stopped taking my Xanax and this is what's happening. And I weaned myself off because you know your own body to an extent, and I had already been through it a little bit. Well, I've been through it to the full extent. So you weren't kidding about part 2. Yeah, part 2, look, part 2 is insane. Part 2 is like a movie. I mean, we talk about being robbed of $1,600, almost killed. I spoke about it on my live the other day. Raids, seeing a dead body, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, there's a lot that we're going to talk about. It's kind of crazy, and the reason I want to share this story with everybody is because I want to show people that just because you were one of the worst people that you knew, I didn't know. I knew bad people, but I was a different type of bad. I was an addict, and then I became a criminal. There's 2 different types of people when you're looking at drug addicts and you're looking at criminals. There's criminals that wake up in the morning and they just want to commit crimes. And that's a criminal addict. They're a criminal first, and then they just like to get high. And then there's people that self-medicate, get high, and then become a criminal. And that was me. That was me 110%. Stealing cars, just making really bad choices. Really bad choices. So, and I never even got caught stealing cars. You know what I'm saying? I made bad choices and drove these cars all night long and brought them back and parked them where I took them from, and nobody even knew. Maybe they found out later on that their gas was low, but they didn't know if somebody drove it, stole, or crazy. Crazy. A girlfriend that I had that I was really close with committed suicide. Right around the time that I was trying to get clean and I was trying to turn my life around. Back in 2009, she took her own life. And those things really affected me. Like, death affects me to this day. Like, I think about that stuff more than I should. And I used to not think about it because of the Xanax and the drugs and the alcohol. You know what I mean? Yeah, padded. No, my padded room is next. So, I don't know, man. I didn't want to do this in the part 1, talk about a lot of this, because it wasn't relevant yet. I just got introduced to some of the drugs and alcohol from the time I was born to 18. It really didn't truly get crazy until I turned 18. I caught a DUI at 18. I wasn't even old enough to drink it. 2 DUIs. I got arrested for sale and delivery and manufacture of a controlled substance. I got caught with Xanax. See, this was another problem. I I would sell my Xanax, and then when I would run out, I would go buy them from other people. Sometimes I'd buy the same ones I sold for a higher price than I sold them for, because I was that addicted to them. Well, I had a bunch of them with me, and I got arrested. I got pulled over and arrested for possession of marijuana. Well, what do you think they found? Another time I got a battery charge. I was at a swimming pool with a buddy of mine, and this dude locked the gate and was drinking with us. He was cool. I didn't know he was gonna lock the gate like this, but he was drinking with us. He was kicking it. He was cool, bullshitting, talking shit, whatever. And he started getting drunk. Actually, we had whiskey and he had vodka, and we were sharing. He was making screwdrivers, and it was like a white rum. It was a white rum. That's what it was, Puerto Rican rum, and we were making. Rum, no, we were making cranberry, and I don't know what we were drinking. I think we were just taking a shot. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that once that dude got drunk and closed that gate and started acting like a fairy, trying to advance on me, it got real, and it got real quick. And I beat the hell out of that dude, and I ran because I panicked. I'm like, yo, I just really hurt this guy, and now the neighborhood's calling the cops on me, and I hear the cops coming. So I take off running. My buddy lived in the apartments right there. I could have just went to his house and went inside. Nobody would have ever bothered me. They knew who I was. But I ran, and the police seen me and let the dog go on me, but they didn't let him off the leash because they couldn't yet. They didn't know if it was a felony charge, so they couldn't release the dog. And I'm fucked up, so I thought I was a Hussein Bolt, but I was really not running very fast. And his dog was dragging this big ass fat cop, and I mean he was big as a house, dude. And the dog's just nipping at my heels. I could feel him biting my shirt. He's so close to getting me. I had 2 shirts on. Well, I had 3. I had a tank top, a white t-shirt, and then my regular shirt. He's nipping at my shirt, and I went to hit. There was these big ass bushes, like hedge bushes, and I jumped. I was midair over these bushes, and the cop came from a different direction, another cop, and shot me midair with the taser. And he hit me here and here, in the midair. What do you think happened? And right face first in the pavement. Well, the bag of pills were in my pocket, or I think it was a bottle, and the bottle broke, and all the pills went flying everywhere. They went down into the tip of my lighter, and they put the lighter back in my pocket, took the Xanax out of my pocket, put them in an evidence bag, charged me with possession of Xanax, gave me my lighter back, charged me with battery, charged me with fleeing and eluding, charged me with all these different resisting arrest without violence. They charged me with all these different charges, and then when I got to jail and they were booking me in, they pulled my lighter out, and they checked my lighter into evidence, and they look at it, they check this, and half a Xanax bar had broken off and went down in my lighter. So they then charged me with introduction of a controlled substance into a state facility. I'm like, yo, you weren't even gonna give me the fucking lighter anyway. What type of sense does it make to stick it on my lighter and sneak it in? So then now I got, and this is where it's about to get crazier. So I go to jail for all that, and then like a couple weeks later, the same kid that I'm with, we get caught up smoking weed at a park, but I'm an adult and he's 17. Or no, yeah, he was 17 and I was 18. I was 19. And they arrested us both, and you're not supposed to transport adult and juveniles together, but they did anyway. And when they took us, they took him first to the juvenile detention center, which is not far from the jail. And they took him in, and she shut the car off. She left me in the back of the car at like noon in Florida with the windows up, and I was fucking dying. So I'm trying to knock on the window. So now I got an induction to contraband into a state facility, and I'm trying to knock on the window. Or no, I was 19 at this point. Yeah, I was 19. I'm trying to knock on the window. I can't get the knock because my handcuffs wouldn't come up high enough. You can't just drag this arm any higher. So I couldn't get any knock. There was a cop way up in the front of the car, and he was standing up by a wall, signing people in. And I was trying to get his attention to come open the door, roll the damn window down. And I had seen on, cops, police shows, that you can't kick a cop car window out. So I was like, all right, bet, I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to kick the window out. I'll get his attention that way. I put both my feet, I laid on the seat, put both my feet up, and gave it one good kick, and the fucking window right out, kicked the whole window out, and my feet are hanging out of the freaking window. Now I'm in a sally port with barbed wire, 10-foot fences and barbed wire, 4 feet up the top of the fence. I'm razor wire at that. I'm not getting out. They charged me with attempted escape while being transported, which made me a red dot, which made it to where anytime I moved in the jail, they locked the whole jail down. I was an attempted escape. Shackles, shock. I had a waist thing around my waist that had these probes that touched your hips, and it was like a shock thing. And if your hands went so far above your chest, or if your hands went too far away from your body and it touched, it would cause or you try to get it off, it would shock the shit out of you. Well, the chain went through the center of it to your hands and all the way down to your feet. So I had to walk in this fucking shackle thing all through the jail to go to get my tuberculosis test, I couldn't talk to nobody. I couldn't come out of this fucking thing. Dude, it was crazy. They put me in like the bottom of the jail, and you didn't go anywhere. You didn't get shit. It was like maximum security. All for doing that. So, and I'm 19 years old now, and I've been to jail 5 times by the time I was 19. That's what I'm saying. It's about to get crazy. And we got 13 times I got to go to jail. 14 if you count the written arrest that I didn't go to jail for. Well, okay, so I spent a lot of time in county jail. I did a lot of runs in county jail. But I was always avoiding it because I'd either bond out or I'd run out on probation. And I was sentenced under YO. I'm not going to go much longer because I got to give my daughter a shower, but I was sentenced under YO, which is youthful offender. And in the state of Florida, under a youthful offender, they cannot give you no more than 7 years. Well, the state's attorney kept pulling my youthful offender back up every time I'd get in trouble. And he was trying to revoke it, and the judge wouldn't. All these judges were giving me the benefit of the doubt. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I'm not taking it from him. So I was skating it like hard. I had like a year here and then like 6 months here, and then as it kept going, as I was getting older, 4 months, 9 months, it's starting to add up. And then probation, that counts too. So they give you a year of probation. Now you can only get 6 years. They started to make it to where I was going to eventually either get the YO revoked and go to prison for a really long time, or I was going to get lucky and avoid prison because they couldn't give me prison time because of the fact that So I ended up making it to OCI, which was just a reception center. You know what I mean? Not just to get that number. I just had to get that number because I was R55686. I'm a felon. You know what I mean? I ain't afraid to admit it. I ain't ashamed of it. It is what it is. It'll follow me for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And it's choices that I made, not anybody else. Curt made those choices. I really got to go, though, because my daughter's got to take a shower. Yeah. Those fishing poles look real nice. I got some really nice ones out there. But anyway, I went from not having a fucking thing to owning a house and having a full-time job that I make good money at. I go to work every day. What pisses me off is I see these people that have no criminal background, have a roof over their head, they have all the means in the world, all the support in the world, and they won't get a job. Like, that's the shit that makes me wonder. Like, how is that fucking right? How does that make sense? I can do this. If y'all don't run off real quick, stay here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go start my daughter's shower, and then I'll say goodbye and then go wash her. Braylon, I'm starting the shower. You're good. You're not getting no hamster. Yeah, so fuck you, Psychobabble. That's what I gotta say. I will tell the world for you, bud. because I was waiting for that. I'm like, please, bro, go ahead, pull all my records. It's public record. Anyone can pull it. It doesn't make me a bad person. If anything, it's just gonna solidify that I'm a good dude. I used to be a fucking scumbag. I used to be somebody that I wouldn't let myself around myself when I used to be like that. I would expect people to think I was a piece of shit. I would expect people to judge me. Dude, if I seen somebody like me now, fuck that dude. That dude's a scumbag. So yeah, go ahead, try me, bro. I just had to get that out because I was waiting. I was waiting for that, and I seen a couple people mention it in the chat, and I think I kind of had a little bit of respect for Psychobabble because I'm sure he found it. If he didn't find it, he's an idiot. It's very simple. No one's past matters, only matters. No, people's past matter. People's past definitely matter. You know, if I met somebody and they had a past of like some child shit or some fucking, yeah, it matters. And yo, I did what I did. I created the problem for myself. And I've already come to the fact, like I've accepted that if somebody don't fuck with me because of my charges, I respect that. I do. Because of the shit I've been in my past and you don't fuck with me now, I respect that. I 100%. I'll walk away as a proud person knowing you're a smart person because people can't be trusted ever. You can't. You have to always have some sort of guard up for something. If you don't stand for protecting yourself, like that's what I feel like the Constitution and gun rights and all that tell people is, look, you can trust people, but don't ever fully trust somebody. Don't fully trust somebody. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I ain't worried about it. Look, like I told y'all before, and if you've been around for a while, you'll know this. If somebody wants to come pick at me, like, I don't give a shit. It bothers me because I'm human, and of course it's going to be like, damn, what's this person's problem? But I have a good enough head on my shoulders that I realize if they're fucking with me, they're not fucking with somebody else. Let them ride. Let them do their thing. I don't entertain it. I won't. If it does bother me, nobody will know. My wife will know. My kids might know, but y'all won't know. Unless I address it. But if I don't address it, y'all never know. And I've cut my circle so small, not because I had to, but because I wanted to, and I keep it that way because if you don't allow people to hurt you, you can't be hurt by anyone. I don't really trust. No, I mean, I trust people. I trust the people that have given me a reason to trust you. I trust the people that respect me for me and not my court transcripts or my past or somebody else's opinion on me. Like I told y'all, I judge the fuck out of people. I expect people to judge people. If you can look at me and tell me that I'm a bad person, you're a horrible judge of character. If you look at my background and you say it, I'll say you're right. You know, I got respect for that. It is what it is. I figured I'd shake some people up that look me up and they're like, fuck this dude, he's been in so much trouble. You know what? I don't want you around anyway. Because you're going to hate on me. You ain't going to respect me for who I am. You're going to judge me for who I used to be. And that ain't the same person that's sitting in front of you right now. I can guarantee you that if Vinny's still in here, Vinny and my mother, and Vinny didn't see Vinny didn't even see a third of it. You know what I'm saying? I cut family out of my circle. Bro, I ain't got much family left, but like my uncle that I spoke about in my part 1, I don't really talk to my uncle much. Not because, like, if you couldn't support me when I was a fucking piece of shit, fuck you trying to support me now. Like, that's why, dude, my mom, when people say this, I've never understood it. I'd kill for my mom. Literally, I would, if somebody, bro, my mom has been with me through everything. My mom is, in my eyes, she is the definition of what a mother should be to a child. My mom hid me from the police, but my mom's also gave me to the police. They tried to charge me with domestic violence on my mother because me and my mother were in the same house and the cops were trying to get in my house and I wouldn't let the cops in my house. So they said I was holding my mother hostage. And when they tased me and my mom went to move the fucking table away from my head so my head would quit slapping into the table while all these cops are jumping on my back, she touched the table and got too close to me and it shocked her and she said, ow! So they said during his violent assault of the police officers, while they're yelling at me to get my arms out from underneath me while all 4 of them are laying on top of me. Oh yeah, sure, let me fucking move the earth underneath me and just pull them on out. No, I couldn't get them out. So then they drive stun me in the neck. I'm already on the ground. They take the taser, click the cartridge off, and shove that. Yeah! I was fucking flopping like a fish. There ain't no avoiding that when they stick it directly. The probes were directly in my neck. They do that when you're resisting and you're standing up, and it's called a drive stun because they use it to drive your ass to the ground. Well, I was already on the ground. And then the lady that did it freaking took a bottle of water out of her car that was half drinking and poured on my neck instead of call the paramedic to have it cleaned out properly, and I could have got her fucking nasty ass germs in my body and could have got some shit. They didn't think about that. They charged me with domestic violence on my mother because they shocked her during the time they were shocking me. What? And they wouldn't let me talk to my mom. They wouldn't let me. I couldn't call her for like a week and a half, and that was my only support. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't talk. My grandmother, which lived right next door to my mom, I couldn't even call my grandmother and ask her about my mom because that's third-party contact. I'm like, damn, dude. The judge heard that. My mom came to court during the arraignment. The judge said, "State, his mother knows him way better than we do, and I think if she felt endangered, she would tell us." And she said, "I'll kick his ass. You better not," and she will. I'll run to the cops before I run to my mom. If my mom's pissed and the cops are trying to get me, hey, police, come on over here. Get me before she does. Because if she gets me, you got to have to take her to jail and me to the coroner. So, I mean, and we're at like arrest number 7 there. Or 8. We got some more to dig into, and I'll dig in a little later, but I got to get out of here and watch my daughter. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll go through and read some of the comments from the live chat later on tonight or tomorrow. Sorry I didn't read much of it. I was trying to stay focused. 3Beer, I appreciate you. Dude, my mom don't throw slippers. My mom throws punches. Look, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to end this with this real quick. My mom got into it with the lady down the street one time. The lady did some shady shit to my grandmother. So mom, now this is the problem that drove me crazy. Mom drives her car to 7-Eleven with me in the car and sees the lady, rolls her window down and starts giving her the business, telling her how she really feels. Well, the lady starts yapping back at my mom, just like this lady was at her mom, and my ass says, "Fuck you, you bitch." Dude, my mom did one of these. She was yelling over here, and she said, "Whack!" I mean, just, yeah, whoa! I mean, she hit me so hard, and I didn't expect it because I felt like she was gonna be happy that I was sticking up for her, like she was sticking up for her mom, and that was mama. Like, don't fuck with my mom. And she had this diamond ring on her finger, and that thing had a big old princess crown cut, and it was just, and she prongs were holding. Oh my god, that thing went in my nostril, and she just ripped it, and it ripped the side of my nose. I thought she ripped my nose off. I really thought my nose was gone. I thought my whole nostril was just gonna be like that. You know what she says? "Better not fucking bleed one drop in my car." So now I'm catching blood on my shirt. Saying, "What the fuck did you do that for?" She said, "Don't you ever talk to a woman like that." I said, "What?" She said, "And don't ever," oh no, that's not what she said. She said, "Don't you ever fight my battle and disrespect an adult like that." And I said, "What? You were calling?" She said, "I don't care what I was calling her. Don't you ever do that. I'm grown. I can handle my own." I'm like, no way. But on that note, I'm out, y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I stayed true to the fact that I wasn't going to stop smoking weed, though. As you can see, Here. I love y'all. Be nice to one another.